Shalom. First off, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kasadah. Give me the courage and the spirit to get his lesson real quick. This is Tawab Bayan Yahweh. And I'm usually on Instagram, and this is like my first lesson. But being that I be on social media, and the one thing they got a hard time with is understanding the Israelite foreigner doctrine. Because a lot of Jakes, they're carnal and they're very surface level in the thinking. So I'm gonna just do a couple quick hits because I'm walking my dog. I stopped at the park real quick just so I could do this quick lesson to the spirit. Start off at Deuteronomy 28, of course, going into the curses. 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of thy power, thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Skip on down to 64. I'm just doing quick hits because this is my first lesson. I'm just trying to knock them out, get people to understand that looking like these other nations is part of the curses. Because not only did we dwell with the heathen or among the heathen, we wanted to do the same things they did and do, be on the same cusp as them. So, the Lord ultimately made us look like these other nations by scattering the men and the men procreating with the heathen woman and, then creating the Israelite foreigner. So, I'm going to get into 64 and the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt observe other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. When we go into that word among, it means, we're going to just go into it. Being a member or members of a large sect, included in one of. So, that proves that we became like these other nations through the scattering and just being under the curse. And a lot of, Jake trying to bring out that COVID, what's that, 4 and 12, Jake trying to bring that out all the time and act like that justifies, you know, we supposed to be like interracial marriages is wrong. So, it only, and then like they contradict themselves because they bring out Hebrews, I believe that's 11, and then it talks about the house of your father. So if it only pertains to the men, and it depends on the Israelite man being an Israelite, what does the mother have to do with it? Nothing, exactly, nothing. Because in the beginning of Deuteronomy, he says we shouldn't be with these other heathen nations because they'll lead us away from him, and that's ultimately the reason why. But going on, let me go back into scripture. Like I said, this is a quick hit. Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek. And we got two types of Gentiles. We got the Israelite foreigner Gentiles, the Hellenized Israelites that look like these other nations that do all their customs and all that. And then you have just these the other nations in general. And his rest shall be glory. And it going on to 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. Because ultimately that's where the other Israelites are, because they look like these other nations of people. Because they're and that goes back in Romans, I believe that's 8 and I don't want to put, I'm gonna look for it. I want to say 9. Yeah. Who are the Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenant and the giving of the law and the service of the power and the promises? Whose are the fathers, of whom as concerning the flesh Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever. Amen. Not as though the word of Yahweh hath taken on effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. Not talking about the 2/3 people, you know, bug out. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is they which are the children of the flesh. These are not the children of Yahweh, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For the children not being yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So, you know, this word spreading out in all these different nations of people, and the ones that are recognizing the word and agreeing with it, I mean, it's pretty much saying that the spirit is willing, you know, the spirit gets it. And it says their spirit bear witness with our spirit. So, and I'm saying Romans 8, let me go to it, 8 and 14. For as many are led by the spirit of Yahweh, they are the sons of Yahweh. So if they get it, and if they understand it, then that means that it's them, and no matter what they look like, because it's about bloodline. It's not about skin color. Going on, I'm going to Acts 2 and 7. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how are we, every man in our own tongues, wherein we were born, Parthians, and Medes, and Elamites, and dwellers of Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cadies and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our own tongues the wonderful works of Yahweh. And that's because they have the spirit of the Israelites, because they're Israelite born, because their fathers were spread out throughout those countries, and they mingled with those, or they made unions with those heathen women. So ultimately, they have the spirit of the Israelites. So when that spiritual, miracle happened, where they came out and spoke to all the multitudes, and they saved those 3,000 souls that day, they all spoke different languages, but their spirit recognized what they were saying through the works of Yahweh. So it's not like you gotta think deeper than what the average person is, than what people are telling you, and you gotta look deeper than what these scriptures are saying, because they're not here just to be read and to some are literal, some things are literal, and like as the scattering, scattering us among the heathen, and then some things are metaphorical, like the white robe. That's just learning the truth as I go into Revelation 7 and 9. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man can number, of all nations and kindreds of people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes. That's the truth. That's coming back into the knowledge of the truth of who they are, them being Israelites, and palms in their hands. And that great multitude is those Israelite foreigners. Because you notice it says of all nations, kindreds, and peoples and tongues, and this Yahweh Shai is only coming back to Israel, for the remnant of Israel, and then he's talking about coming back for kindreds and nations and different tongues. Then what does that tell you? That he's coming back for the Israelite foreigners as well. This is my last verse, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to end it. It's Exodus 2 and 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom. And he said, I have been a stranger in the land, in a strange land. And that word Gershom, it goes back to stranger, the Israelite foreigner, because I believe Zipporah was an Ethiopian. So with that, Lord will, you are edified. Call Allah, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Hashem, and Shalom.